Reading through the Bible in 1 year, October 25th, 2 Kings chapter 6, 1 Timothy chapter 3, Daniel chapter 10, and Psalms 119, verses 1 through 24. It's very long. Now the sons of the prophet said to Elisha, "Behold now, the place before you where we are living is too limited for us. Please let us go to the Jordan, and each of us take from there a beam, and let us make a place there for ourselves where we may live." So he said, "Go." Then one said, "Please be willing to go with your servants." And he answered, "All right, I shall go." So he went down with them, and when they came to the Jordan, they cut down trees. But as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water, and he cried out and said, "Alas, my master, for it was borrowed." Then the man of God said, "Where did it fall?" And he showed him the place, and he cut off a stick and threw it in there, and made the iron float. Again, miracle. That's the only way that could happen. And he said, "Take it up for yourself." So he put out his hand and took it. Now the king of Aram was warring against Israel, and he counseled with his servants, saying, "In such and such a place shall be my camp." The man of God sent word to the king of Israel, saying, "Beware that you do not pass this place, for the Arameans are coming down there." And the king of Israel sent to the place about which the man of God had told him, and thus he warned him, so that he guarded himself there, more than once or twice. Now the heart of the king of Aram was enraged over this thing, and he called his servants and said to them, "Which of you will tell me which of us is for the king of Israel?" And of his servants, or one of his servants said, "No, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet who is in Israel, tells the king the words that you speak in your bedroom." So he said, "Go and see where he is, that I may send and take him." And it was told him, "Behold, he is staying in Dothan." And he sent horses. I love this story. He sent horses and chariots and a great army there. And they came by night and surrounded the city. Now when the attendant of the man of God had risen early and gone out, behold, an army with horses and chariots was circling the city. And the servant said to him, "Alas, my master, what shall we do?" So he answered, Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." Then Elisha prayed and said, "O Lord, I pray, open his eyes so that he may see." And the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. When they came down to him, Elisha prayed to the Lord and said, "Strike this people with blindness, I pray." So he struck them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. Then Elisha said to them, "This is not the way, nor is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom you seek." And he brought them to Samaria. Hilarious. And when they had come into Samaria, Elisha said, "O Lord, open the eyes of these men so that they may see." So the Lord opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Samaria. Then the king of Israel, when he saw them, said to Elisha, "My father, shall I kill them? Shall I kill them?" He turned and answered, "No, you shall not kill them. Would you kill those whom you have taken captive with your sword and with your bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master." So he prepared a great feast for them. I love this story. And when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away. And they went away to their master. And the marauding bands of the Arameans did not come again into Israel. Why? Because they knew that they had no power there. Now it came about after this that Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, gathered all his army and went up and besieged Samaria. And there was a great famine in Samaria, and behold, they besieged it, until a donkey's head was sold for 80 shekels of silver, and a fourth of a cob of dove's dung for 5 shekels of silver. As the king of Israel was passing by on the wall, a woman cried out to him, saying, "Help, my lord, O king." He said, "If the Lord does not help you, from where shall I help you? From the threshing floor, or from the winepress?" And the king said to her, "What is the matter with you?" She said, "This woman said to me, 'Give me your son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow.' But we boiled my son and ate him." So I said to her on the next day, give me your son that we may eat him, but she has hidden her son. When the king heard the words of the woman, he tore his clothes. Now he was passing by on the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth beneath on his body. Then he said, may God do so to me and more also, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, remains on him today. Because again, they were rebelling against God. This is what happens. God told them exactly this was going to take place. Now Elisha was sitting in his house, and the elders were sitting with him. And the king sent a man from his presence. But before the messenger came, he said to the elders, do you see how the son of a murderer has sent to take away my head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door, and hold the door shut against him. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him? While he was still talking with them, behold, the messenger came down to him and said, behold, this evil is from the Lord. Why should I wait any longer? We actually get into more of the story tomorrow, but we'll get there. Let's move on to 1 Timothy chapter 3. The qualifications for elders. Paul continues, it is a trustworthy statement. If any man aspires to the office of overseer, elder, it is a fine work he desires to do. An overseer, then, must be above reproach, the husband of one wife. I'm going to bring up the notes here so you can see them. It's actually a list of all of them together that are found both here and in Titus. So the overseer must be above reproach, the husband of one wife, temperate, prudent, respectable, hospitable, able to teach, not addicted to wine or pugnacious, but gentle, peaceable, and free from the love of money. He must be one who manages his own household well, keeping his children under control with all dignity. But if a man does not know how to manage his household or his own household, how will he take care of the church of God? And not a new convert, so that he will not become conceited and fall into the condemnation incurred by the devil. And he must have a good reputation with those outside the church, so that he will not fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Deacons, likewise, now this is a second group of people within the church, must be men of dignity, not double-tongued or addicted to much wine or fond of sordid gain, but holding to the mystery of the faith with a clear conscience. These men must also be first tested, and then let them serve as deacons if they are beyond reproach. Women must likewise be dignified, not malicious gossips, but temperate, faithful in all things. Deacons must be the husband of only one wife, and good managers of their children and their own households. For those who have served as well as deacons obtain for themselves a high standing and great confidence in the faith that is in Christ Jesus. I am writing these things to you, hoping to come to you before long, but in case I am delayed, I write to you so that you will know how one ought to conduct himself in the household of God, which is the church of the living God, the pillar and support or buttress of the truth. By common confession, great is the mystery of godliness. He who was revealed in the flesh, was vindicated in the spirit, seen by angels, proclaimed among the nations, believed on in the world, and taken up in glory. Bringing up the rest of the notes here. As I said, there are quite a few. Still scrolling. There we go. That is all the notes. Let me bring up the rest here for you. Yep, there we go. All right, let's move on to Daniel chapter 10. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, who was named Belteshazzar. And the message was true and one of great conflict, but he understood the message and had an understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, had been mourning for 3 entire weeks. I did not eat any tasty food, nor did meat or wine enter my mouth, nor did I use any ointment at all until the entire 3 weeks were completed. Note that line in verse 3. Remember at the beginning of the book when we were talking about Daniel and how he and his companions had been standing before the chief eunuch of Nebuchadnezzar, King Nebuchadnezzar, and how they were eating only vegetables to prove that they didn't have to eat the other food from the table of the king. And I've had a lot of people tell me that, well, David remained a vegetarian his entire life, and he's an example for all of us to follow. No. First, the New Testament's clear. Especially verse 14, chapter 14 of Romans, let the weak only eat vegetables. But that said, we see here that he normally ate meat. He just wasn't eating it now because he was mourning. All right, let's go on. On the 24th day of the month, of the first month, while I was on the banks of the bank of the great river, that is the Tigris, I lifted my eyes and looked, and behold, there was a certain man dressed in linen, whose waist was girded with a belt of pure gold of Uphaz. His body was also like beryl. His face had the appearance of lightning, and his eyes were like flaming torches. His arms and feet were like the gleam of polished bronze. And the sound of his words was like the sound of a tumult. Now, I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, while the men who were with me did not see the vision. Nevertheless, a great dread fell on them, and they ran away to hide themselves. So I was left alone and saw this great vision, yet no strength was left in me, for my natural color turned to a deathly pallor, and I retained no strength. But I heard the sound of his words. And as soon as I heard the sound of his words, I fell into a deep sleep on my face, with my face to the ground. Then behold, a hand touched me, and set me trembling on my hands and knees. And he said to me, O Daniel, man of high esteem, wouldn't that be great to have the angels of God refer to you as a man or woman of high esteem? Understand the words that I am about to tell you, and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. And when he had spoken this word to me, I stood up, trembling. Then he said to me, Do not be afraid, Daniel, for from the first day that words are hard. From the first day that you set your heart on understanding this and on humbling yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to your words. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia was withstanding me for 21 days. Then behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia. Now, I have come to give you an understanding of what will happen to your people in the latter days, for the vision pertains to days yet in the future. Again, read all the notes. When he had spoken to me according to these words, I turned my face toward the ground and became speechless. And behold, one who resembled a human being was touching my lips. And then I opened my mouth and spoke, and I said to him who was standing before me, Oh, my Lord, as a result of the vision, anguish has come upon me, and I have retained no strength. For how can such a servant of my Lord talk with such as my Lord? As for me, there remains just now no strength in me, nor has any breath been left in me. Yeah, that's all the notes. Cool. Okay. Then this one, with the human appearance, touched me again and strengthened me. And he said, O man of high esteem, do not be afraid. Peace be with you. Take courage and be courageous. Now, as soon as he spoke to me, I received strength and said, May my Lord speak, for you have strengthened me. Then he said, Do you understand why I came to you? But I shall now return to fight against the prince of Persia. So I am going forth, and behold, the prince of Greece is about to come. However, I will tell you what is inscribed in the writing of truth. Yet there is one who stands firmly with me against these forces, except Michael, your prince. I'm going to restate that because I said it wrong. Yet there is no one who stands firmly with me against these forces, except Michael, your prince. Read the notes. That's all I can say. All right, let's go on to Psalm 119, verses 1 through 24. All right, now this is a very long chapter, just so you know. It's broken into let me see, there should be something up here that gives me the actual numbers. This is a really good section to read on the side, on the ESV Study Bible side, that goes into some of the details on it. Okay, so it's 22 stanzas, one for each letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And all of them have... Okay, yeah, there's a lot of kind of weird notes on this. But again, I strongly recommend reading these notes because they give you a lot of information about this book, about this chapter. It's a really great chapter to go through. But each of the stanzas has 8 verses in it. I'll just go ahead and begin while I keep scrolling through these notes. Aleph. How blessed are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord. How blessed are those who observe his testimonies, who seek him with all their heart. They also do no unrighteousness. They walk in all his ways. They have ordained your precepts, that we should keep them diligently. Oh, that my ways be established, or may be established, to keep your statutes. Then I shall not be ashamed when I look upon all your commandments. I shall give thanks to you with I shall give thanks to you with uprightness of heart when I learn your righteous judgments. I shall keep your statutes. Do not forsake me utterly. Beth. How can a young man keep his way pure? By keeping it according to your word. With all my heart I have sought you. Do not let me wander from your commandments. Your word I have treasured in my heart, that I may not sin against you. Blessed are you, O Lord. Teach me your statutes. With my lips I have told of all the ordinances of your mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies, as much as in all riches. I will meditate on your precepts and regard your ways. I shall delight in your statutes. I shall not forget your word. Gimel. Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. Open my eyes, that I may behold wonderful things from your law. I am a stranger in the earth. Do not hide your commandments from me. My soul is crushed with longing after your ordinances at all times. You rebuke the arrogant, the cursed, who wander from your commandments. Take away reproach and contempt from me. For I observe your testimonies. Even though princes sit and talk against me, your servant meditates on your statutes. Your testimonies are also my delight. They are my counselors. All right, that's all for today. God willing, we will be back tomorrow. Behold, the word of the Lord.